welcome to Break the Chalk. I am your host, Anthony Russo, and you're wondering, Break the Chalk? Several years in the making, the reunion, the comeback? Yes, sir, we're back. Did not resonate well with Russo After Dark on Fridays, especially at when I was doing it at 8 or 9 o'clock. Just did not go well. The lines were already pretty much cooked. Um, just tough. And this gives a lot of information out a couple days before the game. So enough time for some good value in the betting market. But otherwise, man, we're here. We are technically not live. We are recording this at 6:25 p.m. Central Standard Time on Wednesday, September 10th, 2025. We will release the episode tonight. So if you are in the chat or watching this video, typically our videos are live. We are not going to be live for this video just because we want to make sure we emphasize the content side, especially from a betting perspective. So with that being said, Break the Chalk was a series that we made. It was our first series together, me and Trey. And by the way, catching up with Coach is such a great show, man. I'm so happy that he's, because he would send me those recordings and episodes every Tuesday or Monday, giving his thoughts on the game. Obviously, it's going to be more centralized around LSU because that is, our team. He has the most knowledge towards that, and he definitely wants to incorporate more as we go. But I think the emphasis here is with our viewers focusing a lot on LSU football. So here we are more centralized on sports betting. Russo After Dark. If no one really caught an episode of that, this is 100% sports gambling. Whether you have a legalized state like Louisiana, here we have FanDuel, DraftKings, all of the fun stuff, or if you're in another state like Texas with Prize Picks, or if you're offshore on a site like MyBookie or Bovada, anywhere where you can bet, this is going to be the series, the content that you are going to be looking forward to, and really, we're just going to go over some of the big games for the week. We are now in week 3 of the season, and football is just full-fledged back. We had the NFL last week, our first full week together with both sports, and it's just so exciting, man. So what we're going to do on this show is we're going to go over some of the big games. I've got 6 on my radar, I believe, for this episode. Just give you my thoughts, give you some of the sharp angles that I'm seeing with the movements publicly. And what we'll do is we'll make a ladder challenge play. We did hit on our ladder challenge play by the grace of the good Lord. We had a team totals with a bunch of underdogs just needing a field goal. And the Minnesota Northwestern State game was canceled with 6 minutes left. Needed 3 points. They had none. It was like 66 or 63 nothing. Voided it. Thankfully, we got a partial payout. So we are technically on to stage 2 of the ladder. But, since this is Break the Chalk, we're going to just start with a $20 ladder 1 challenge. We're going to aim for plus 200. I feel like that's the sweet spot. I don't really think 300s. We were getting bad beated too many times and losing by 1 on those. So we're going to start with plus 200s on the ladder challenge as well. But let's just go over the big game of the weekend, I guess, for me and others in the SEC in the South. Obviously, there's going to be arguments for other games, but we have LSU taking on Florida. Now, this game is at 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time in Death Valley. And we've got some interesting takes here. So I think if we're going to go over, let's start on the Florida side, right? I think Florida, disappointing loss against a South Florida team that is now 2-0, technically 2 upsets, we'll call it. And they're on, we really don't know. Was it an upset? Was it a case where Florida's just not good? I don't know. But they ended up at 1-1. On the season, and LSU is 2-0. Now, obviously, they have Clemson, which in hindsight, was a strong victory. But then at halftime of week 2, you see Clemson's down 16-0 to Troy. So all of this is a lot of open-ended portions of this. Like we have a lot of unknown, and we're going to figure out a lot this weekend. I think here's my perspective. So the over-under opened at 40 or 54.5 on this one. You want to know where we're at right now? 48.5. And I've even seen some books with 47.5. To me, most gamblers would tell you the line's already moved a touchdown. Stay away or maybe wait for the number to go back up. Guys, this number is not going back down. This number is not going down, or back up, is going down. And to me, this just feels like it's going to be. And look, people are going to argue the narrative for Florida is that, their back's against the wall. This is a must-win game. But have you seen their schedule? I mean, their schedule is insane. So, to me, are we really arguing that this is a must-win game for them? You've got at Miami, Texas, A&M, Mississippi State, Georgia, Kentucky, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Florida State. I mean, I think the narrative of this is a must-win game, the back's against the wall, LSU's screwed, I don't buy into that. I think you can argue LSU, if anything, is in a similar situation with the performance they put up in week 2. Is LA Tech's defense that good? Truth be told, I don't think so. So to me, I think where this game is going to go is it's going to go under. I even love, to me, I'd go all the way up to 44.5. I think this is just going to be like a 20-24 game. It's going to be ugly. It's going to be close. LSU can't run the ball. I think that's pretty clear. If you've watched us the last season and 2 games, can't run the ball. Now you'll see some elevated rushing stats from an LSU perspective. You've had a few big runs throughout the season so far. I know I believe Xavion had a big 50-yard rush in the last game, and they've been utilizing him out of the backfield a lot lately too, which is good. It's just, what's the issue here, right? Is it the O-line? Is it the running back, Caden Durham? I mean, he's averaging about 3 to 4 yards a carry. Has all the intangibles, looks great, but just the running game, not good. So I just don't know where this game goes. Both offenses have been this season. I don't think forgot what their point. I think LSU and Florida have combined for 70 points this season. And a lot of that came from 71 points total for Florida, 40 for LSU over the 2 games. So 111. Give me the under. I mean, and look, we're gonna add this game. Got our lovely FanDuel in here, not sponsored by them, so whatever, use whatever book you're comfortable with. And if we're looking at this from a ladder perspective, look, I'm telling you, I like the under 47.5. There's a couple of different angles you can play. LSU's defense is crazy good. You could play at it for, and for a ladder challenge, you want to find a juicier line because we're trying to get to plus 200, but you want to add several of these in. I think you don't trust LSU's offense, but you trust their defense. Maybe you go with an under 28.5 maybe for Florida's team. Does Florida score 4 touchdowns on this defense? Because if you're looking at it from my perspective as an LSU fan, I know this offense has the pieces. They have not looked great so far, but they have the ability, or they have the chance to put it together and could pop off. So I think my angle as far as the ladder challenge is concerned is we're going to take under 4 touchdowns basically for Florida team total at minus 530. And you're gonna be like, oh, break the chalk, minus 530. Look at the ladder challenge, man. Like, I am of the belief that this game is going way under. So, like, if you want a break the chalk take, I'm okay here at 44.5. I'm okay. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't even hate this plus 200, 40.5 for the game. You know what I'm saying? So, like, this is a ladder challenge. We're being a little juicy to get to a plus 200, but that doesn't stop me of the belief that this game could be just very low scoring. So that is where we're at for the LSU game. Let's move on. We'll get this off for now to the Texas A&M Notre Dame game. This is a rematch from last year. This game is going to be in South Bend. Notre Dame is a touchdown favorite in this game. And what do we know? Okay. Marcel Reed of Texas A&M is a little beaten up. I mean, I expect him to be 100% or as close to 100% as possible for this game. Their run defense, Texas A&M looked bad against UTSA. I think they had over 200 yards on them. It was bad. So there is a concern with Notre Dame's ability to just hammer the run, just a ground heavy attack and really control the time of possession on this game. From Notre Dame's perspective, 0-1. And it's weird. You have a bye week on week 2, a lot to sit here and simmer on. CJ Carr looked okay to me. I think he threw for like 221 and had a rushing touchdown against Miami. How good is Miami? That is to be, seen in the next couple of weeks. So the bye week home field advantage, to me, you go two angles here. I want to say the over-under is 49.5. I wouldn't go over. I would not go over. Under is a play. You can juice it. I don't know where I feel comfortable adding this game into the ladder. Because, like, if A&M's defense gave up 200 rush yards to UTSA, what's going to happen against Notre Dame, right? I think that's kind of where my thought process is on this. Let's go and find that game. I believe that's at 6:30. Yeah, so 6.5 on here, 49.5. I don't know where you go here. I'm not going to lie. I don't like any of this stuff, dude. I mean, we could go just way under. Maybe get a juiced line. Like, what are our touchdowns of 7, 59, or 49, 56, 63. Okay. That's where we land here. I mean, if we want to look at this game, and look, I've got monsters everywhere here, guys, so just bear with me. A&M's put up 44 points and 42 points in their 2 games, but both against bums. And the Miami game was 27-24 for Notre Dame. When they played last year, which I do not believe Marcel Reed was a part of that game, it was 23-13. But that was a national championship level defense. Yeah, I'm sticking with 63.5 here. Just pray this doesn't get into a shootout. And, I really do see this being controlled by Notre Dame. It'll probably be close, like a 24-20. So that's where I'm landing on this one. So we have 2 legs in here so far for minus 240. We will move on to the next big game, arguably the other better SEC game this weekend. We have the Georgia Bulldogs taking on the Tennessee Volunteers in a very tight contested matchup coming up. This game's at 2:30 p.m. Central Time in Knoxville, Tennessee. So what do we know? Spread's 3.5 for Georgia, 49.5 total points. I mean, what do we know? I think Georgia, they are what they are. I think Tennessee has exceeded expectations, but were those expectations high is the question. Joey Aguilar has came in and looked great. Has he shown that he's a Heisman candidate? No. However, he's come in. There's no concerns with the replacement of Nico. He's come in. They are 2-0, and that's good, right? And Georgia, they are what they are. And to me, I'm not buying into this yet. I'm still on Georgia. They've won 8 straight against Tennessee, all by double digits. Tennessee has not thrown a touchdown pass against Georgia in the last 3 meetings. So, look, matchup dynamics matter. Obviously, with NIL, with rosters changing, historics, you take it with a grain of salt, right? But to me, I think you're really going to see the experience of a solid Georgia team here. I think it's going to be 27-17 in that ballpark. I think Georgia has some O-line issues, but I think they will be up and ready to hold on to this game. I know it's in Knoxville. I know it's a home game for Tennessee, but I mean, to me, I just don't see Georgia getting whipped around here. If anything, they lose a tight game. And for that reason, what we'll do as far as the ladder is concerned, I believe that's a 2:30 game. So, I mean, so we've got 2 legs here at minus 240. We have a couple more games to add in here. Alternate spread. I think that's where I'm at here. I mean, if you really are scared, you can come here. So minus 140 to minus 160. And with us having several games, I'm okay coming here. So, yeah. That's where we'll go for that game. Nothing crazy to break down here, guys. I think Georgia wins this game and covers, but look, crazier things have happened. So hopefully we will get through that one. Now here's a game that has the making to go either way. And we've got Clemson versus Georgia Tech. And look, we've discussed Clemson a little bit earlier on. Tightly contested game with LSU. You look at halftime in week 2, you're down 0-16 to Troy. Yes, they end up winning the game. Yes, everything's fine. But man, not a good look. I literally texted my friend groups and we're like, yeah, maybe I don't feel as good about LSU. And then LSU goes and lays a clunker out against LA Tech here. So what do we know? Clemson's a 3.5-point favorite, 54.5 on the total. We do have some injury concerns on both sides here. I believe Antonio Williams for Clemson is questionable with his hamstring injury. That was aggravated in the LSU game. And I believe on Georgia Tech side, Haynes King is questionable. I would expect Haynes King to play in this game. I'm going to operate under the notion that he is going to play. The backup Aaron Philo started the previous game and went for like 373 yards. Good for him against Gardner-Webb, not against Clemson. So, historics, Clemson's won 9 straight against Georgia Tech. Now, Georgia Tech is 2-0 in the season. Big win over Colorado to open the season up. Clemson's defense on paper is top 5. So, like, they grade out across the board, especially in the linebacker units, especially in the secondary. I think where Clemson will have success in this game is the pass rush, is the D-line versus the O-line. Is Colorado that good? I lean towards no. I think Clemson has to win this game. Georgia Tech, I know Trey was heavy on the over. I believe it was 7.5 wins for them. So, like, this season's not over after this game for Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech can still make some noise. I just think this game is a must win after a loss against LSU and a poor performance against Troy. This is make or break for them. And I know I didn't want to rely on that too much for Florida, but, like, this is a different scenario here. Like, Clemson was projected to win the ACC. They were projected to make a playoff run. So, like, the stakes are different here, okay? So, to me, with the injury concerns, even though this game is at Georgia Tech, Clemson's covered 7 of the 9 last meetings. Must-win spot. Give me Clemson 27-20. They cover the 3.5. And, man, if they don't do this, going to be tough sledding. So where does that fit onto the ladder challenge? We're at minus 160. I think we just play it safe here and kind of do the same narrative we did with Georgia. 7.5 gets you the plus money. We're aiming for plus 200 with, I believe, 2 games left. I'm confident. Where does this move the needle? Minus 107. I'm going to land on plus 7.5. I hope I don't regret that. We could come back to this before we end the show. Could come back to that because we'll see where the other lines match up here. We'll come back to that. All right, 2 more games to go here. An intriguing SEC matchup with Vanderbilt taking on South Carolina. Wow. I'm excited for this game. 6:45 at South Carolina. South Carolina is a 5.5-point favorite with the total being at 47.5. This one's crazy, man. It's crazy because, like, let me go find this. If you look at South Carolina, I think a lot of people slept on them. I know me and Trey on our show, we're very high on them. They didn't look great against Virginia Tech. Now, they pulled away. They did their job. But Vanderbilt just played Virginia Tech too. And kind of dog walked them a little bit. And that game was at Virginia Tech. This one is tight, man. We've got 2 great quarterbacks here. Diego Pavia for Vanderbilt. I think he's got over 10 yards per rushing attempt. I mean, you would expect that from Lenoris, but from him is sick. 5 touchdowns in 2 games. I think the sharp money is going to be on Vanderbilt here with the spread. And is Pavia going to outperform Sellers? It's crazy, man. This game is going to be so fun. I think Vanderbilt could pull the upset here. I think they do. I'm going to change my pick on this. I think Vanderbilt wins this game 27-24. Something about this team, dude. When you watch the highlights, just something about this team. And as a LSU fan, I am very concerned with this game on the schedule this season. Very concerned, let me tell you. I mean, we play both of these teams, have both of these games circled, and there's no easy SEC game. So like, it is what it is. But South Carolina's won 16 straight against Vanderbilt, dating back to 2008. Man, yeah, I'm on Vanderbilt here, dude. I'm drinking it for sure. So let's see what we're gonna do on this one. We could probably get a pretty sick line on Vanderbilt here. Probably like 2 touchdowns and a half, maybe, for a good line. We've only got one more game on here, so we've got to be careful, especially if we're concerned here with that Clemson spread. So one angle we could play here is we could go over. We could play an over. We could play an over here for 34.5, 5 touchdowns. Doesn't move the needle that much. We could play for 40 points. That moves the needle a lot. But what number can we get on Vanderbilt? Because like if we're taking 2 touchdowns and I'm picking them to win, that's probably my best bet here. But man, both offenses are so explosive. I'm going to take the over in this game. I hate it because I just changed my pick to pick. Something about this number, 38.5. I think we'll get there. Hopefully my intuition's right. So we've got one ladder play left, and that game will be discussed with the hot South Florida taking on Miami. This game's interesting, man. This game is interesting. So obviously there's going to be a lot of public action on South Florida here, right? I think they've had 2 great wins this season. They've allowed 23 points through 2 games against 2 pretty solid teams. But is Miami a step up in competition compared to Florida? I think the answer is yes here, guys. I think the answer is yes. I think Miami looked very impressive against Notre Dame. I think they've only allowed 6.3 points per game so far. Last year, when these 2 teams played, South Florida ran 32 carries, 62 yards. They lost 50-15. And to add, not only did they have Cam Ward there, but now you've been replaced with I'm going to say it, a Heisman worthy contender in Carson Beck. So to me, it's like, where do we go with this game? It's tough because I would like to say my bet would be that this line probably opened at like 50. Yeah, that's what I figure. So it opened at 53.5, currently at 57.5. opened at 18.5 for South Florida. Now it's 17.5. Those are the right moves. I think everyone, I'm seeing split picks here. This game's at 3:30 in Hard Rock Stadium. No major injuries for either team. Man, where do we go here, guys? I'm thinking, look, we're not going to shy away from this game. I mean, we picked 6 pretty popular games. Could I go the route and go like pick some easy, like here and you know what I'm saying? Like we could go that route. I'm not going to do it. We're going to challenge. We're going to challenge ourselves here. And where do we land? We've got to get to plus 200. I'm not going to use a profit boost. What is the angle here? I think that number's about right. I would probably pick South Florida, gun to my head. I'd probably pick the under here, gun to my head. What can we get to? That gets us over the mark. That puts us right at it. So it's like 650 puts us there. Or my apologies, 640 puts us there. That would not get us there. I would hate for this to be like a 1 or 2 point game. Oh, man. Given that the game last year was 50-15, we can make 2 arguments. One, Miami is probably just as good. Cam Moore was great. He was the Heisman winner. But you can probably argue that their offense is just as good this year. But we can also argue this team's no joke this year. So I think there will be resistance. You have to go 10.5. Can they score 10.5 against that defense in Miami? Total points. We would have to land on 42.5, which fudge, man. We're gonna do it, dude. We're gonna go, and we're just gonna take a bunch of points, as many points as we can take, which is this plus 31.5. Take it to the bank, man. $20. Stage technically 2. We are climbing the ladder, boys. So that's fun. Gave you the perspective of of where I think each game is going to go here. Added a modified leg of that to the bets, and man, right above 30 minutes of action here. Like I said, did not do this live, so if you are watching, hopefully you didn't miss this point in the beginning of the show. But please feel free to comment. Please feel free to text me, message me, whatever you can. Reach out to us on our socials. Just got the Twitter name changed. We can put it up here. Let me create a banner. Get this right for you folks, because we really do utilize our X the most. And our X is Russo and Goodwin. So please feel free to reach out to us on there. We will have several possible plays, depending on maybe player props that will be offshore that we will utilize when it gets closer, when those are released. Guys, we just can't thank you enough. We finally reached 60 subscribers. Always tune in to Catching Up with Coach on Tuesdays. The live RNG show is tomorrow at, I believe, our normal time. I think 6:30. So we've got a lot to discuss, a lot to break down in this LSU Florida game. More specifics there. So please like and subscribe, and we will see you guys tomorrow.